Hello you gorgeous people, this is Chris from Rakombu and I'm here with another episode of What Smartphones Has Honor released this week. Quite a prolific company, as you might have noticed if you've been watching our videos for a while now. Honor 7S is its latest effort. This is actually one of its most budget-friendly smartphones to date. It's just £100 here in the UK. We can get it unboxed, get it all set up and have a whiz around the hardware and the software so you know exactly what to expect. So first up, there is the smartphone itself. The box itself, not particularly exciting, just a very straightforward blue box, but I do like the blue hue, very colourful. You can always count on Honor for a bit of that, apart from when it comes to the actual smartphone, because this is a plain black model, although you should, as usual, be able to pick it up in a couple of different hues, if so desired. Let's have a bit of a whiz around the rest of the box first of all, just see. I'm imagining it's not going to be much more exciting than basically a plug and a cable. Yeah, that seems to basically be your whack. Not surprising for £100. What would you expect? This is a European 2-pin plug because the review samples are always European models for some reason. But you will of course get a 3-pin plug here in the UK, and of course you get your Pokey pin device jobby. So you can actually get your SIM loaded in there. Lovely stuff. There you go. That was easy. Onto the phone itself. So first of all, let's see if it's got any juice in the tank. We can get that powered up. Yes, indeed. One of the first things you'll notice is, oh my god, there's no notch. One of the first smartphones in bloody yonks, apart from the BlackBerry Key 2, that has not rocked a bit of notch action, of course, because it's a more budget model. Honor is definitely a fan of the notches, as you'll see if you've checked out our Honor 10 review and the rest. It's a pretty straightforward, standard budget model by the looks of it. Nothing too exciting. I'm guessing it feels quite solid. It feels like a sort of a matte metal style finish, so it should hopefully prove quite rugged. So pretty straightforward, just a small bit of Honor branding there, and you get your camera lens up there in the top right hand corner. We will dive into the camera app later and give that a bit of a going through. But yeah, it only juts ever so slightly from the surface, as you can hopefully make out there, ever so slightly jutting. So pretty uniform, that's nice and neat. You get your power button, your volume rocker. Up top you do get a 3.5mm jack as well, so you can connect some wired phones, always lovely. Boop. There we go, let's pull this thing out. There we go, yes, so that's a long one. So you get, as you can see there, dual SIM tray, and then you also have a space for your micro SD memory card as well. So very generous slot action there. I'm just going to whiz through the highly exciting setup process and then we can take a tour of the software. So at this sort of price point, the Honor 7S really doesn't have much in the way of competition. You've got the likes of the Moto E stuff. Vodafone does a really good one, the Smart N series, which generally is between the £100 and £150-ish mark. Depending on which model you go for. That's generally pretty good, a nice affordable smartphone as well. But yeah, £100 is still quite rare to find a decent smartphone around this price point, so hopefully this will hold up quite well. Your phone is ready. Right, let's get into it then. So it is of course Android Oreo, I believe 8.1, backed up of course with a nice bit of Emotion UI 8.0 slathered lovingly on top by Honor. Is of course Huawei's software, Emotion UI, or MUI as I like to call it, and that basically just keeps the general look and feel of Android the same, the general layout is the same, but it just jazzes up they've got various themes as you can see here. You've got fresh new icon design work and everything, and you've got a whole heap of bonus functionality thrown in there as well, so we'll go through some of that. And one of the first things worth pointing out is the fact that it's a 5.45-inch screen, 5.45 inches, so it's actually one of the more compact smartphones we've handled in quite some time. I guess the Key 2 was a 4.5-incher, but that also had that massive QWERTY keyboard stuck on there. So this is actually relatively dinky compared with the majority of handsets these days. And of course no notch action, which I know annoys a lot of people. So that screen, it's a basic LCD screen. It does have the stretched 18:9 aspect ratio, so it'll be well suited to a bit of Netflix, things like that. Quite basic resolution though, it's 1440 by 720, so basically HD plus is how it would be termed. But if you get in there pretty close, as you can see, still relatively crisp as well. I believe it's around the sort of 300 pixels per inch mark. So it's certainly not, you know, a low-res screen or anything like that, even if it isn't as sharp as some of the more mid-range to premium models. Try boosting up the old screen brightness as well. That's pretty damn bright. Yeah, that should do the job. And sort of relatively punchy as well. Again, considering that low asking price, it certainly isn't a dull display. Just don't expect the moon on a stick and you should be pretty happy with that. If we dive on into the display settings, there's a bit of customization you can do in there as well. So for instance, you can jump into color temperature and you can make the visuals nice and warm or a little bit chilly, depending on your personal preference, or just stick it on default as I will. You've got your night light, which basically just filters blue light and makes a nice warm, easy on the eyeball experience at evenings. As you can see, you can schedule it so you can actually have that turned on at night so you don't have to manually do it all the time. Comfort mode makes a return as well, and various other bits, so you got your basic customization in there. And as you can see, of course, all of our apps are stashed away there on the desktops to begin with, and there are quite a lot of apps as well. Honor/Huawei always end up throwing lots of bonus stuff on there. Some of it's useful, a lot of it is utter tosh. So what we're going to do is we're just going to dive into the settings and then head to display. Oh no, home screen style, I tell a lie. And then in here you've got your drawer option, and what that does is just allows you to tidy up your desktop so you don't have all those apps cluttered away on there eventually. Of course, it is going to be quite basic budget performance, so I'm expecting the odd stutter and stammer here and there as we're going through it. Hello, Mr. Honor. You still with us, buddy? Hey, there we go. We have life. That took a worrying, troublesome amount of time, but we got there in the end. As you can see, we now have the apps tray/drawer, and all of the apps are stashed away in there. Nice bit of stuttery action there for you as well. And that just means we can just get rid of all this crap. Just hold on to it and then remove. Get rid of that. And of course not uninstalling the apps, we're just moving them off the desktops to keep everything nice and tidy. And of course, unfortunately, you do get lots of duplicate apps with the likes of this. So you get your email app, even though you've got Gmail on there. You've got your web browser, all that kind of stuff, but whatever. So speaking of that performance, as it is, of course, budget, basic, bog standard effort. It's a MediaTek chipset thrust away in there. It's the MT6739 for anyone who's up on their chipsets. General mobile platforms, and it's backed by just 2 gigs of RAM as well, so it is going to be a bit of a stuttery experience. Should be absolutely fine if you just want to browse the web, check your emails, things like that, but don't go expecting to play, you know, strong mobile games like PUBG and things like that on this thing. It's going to probably die a bit of a stuttery death, to be honest. But we will see. We've got some games away on there, the classics, of course, Dragon Mania, something with Mickey on a roller coaster, all the usual stuff. What I am expecting from this thing is really strong battery life. The MediaTek chipsets, they're not the slickest, they're not the speediest, but they do tend to be pretty power efficient at least, so there's a bit of a trade-off. There's a 3020 milliamp battery packed in this thing, so hopefully that should keep you going at least a full day. I reckon probably closer to a day and a half, 2 days, even with fairly intensive use. And as you can see, you've got the usual power saving mode and ultra power saving mode, courtesy of Emotion UI. So you can get a bit of those on the go if you really need to, but hopefully won't have to at all. And you can, of course, optimize. And before I forget, I will just touch on storage as well, quickly as well. So it should be 16 gigs, I believe it is, of storage packed in here. And yes, there you go. And as you can see, just under 10 gigabytes, that is free, because a fair whack is used up by the OS, the overlay, and the various countless crappy apps that you get pre-installed on there. But at least you can expand up to 256 gigs using micro SD. So that is really, really generous. And of course, you don't have to compromise the dual SIM setup to do that as well. Lovely. You might have noticed also that there is no fingerprint sensor hidden anywhere on the Honor 7S, either here on the already quite greasy and grubby back, that's probably my sweaty hands, apologies, or down here on the front beneath the screen or anything as well, so you're unfortunately stuck with your normal PIN and password entry when it comes to the security. If you dive into the settings as well, I've also, whoa, no, go away please SwiftKey. I'm also struggling to find quite a lot of the bonus features that you usually get on Honor and Huawei handsets with that Emotion UI overlay, such as for instance the likes of the one-handed mode, the gesture support and all that stuff. They seem to be nowhere in sight unless I'm being absolutely blind/dense. So it's a bit of a shame. I mean, one-handed mode isn't exactly essential with a 5.45 inch handset anyway. It feels pretty slick and easy to use with just the one mitt, but it's always a nice to have anyway. Which brings us nicely onto the camera tech. So right here, mounted on the back, let's just get a little bit closer. You have a 13 megapixel single lens camera, so it is actually single lens, one of the first single lens cameras I've used since, God knows, the Pixel 2 probably, I guess. And it rocks a good bit of face detection, autofocus, and that's about your whack as far as the sexy tech goes. There's obviously no OIS or anything like that built in, as this is a budget smartphone. Let's dive into the camera app and see what we can expect. So it does look like your standard Huawei/Honor camera app, so it should be packed with features and all kinds of jazz. Definitely a bit more basic here on the front panel than obviously the more premium Honor phones. You don't get, for instance, like the portrait mode or anything like that, of course, again, because there's only a single lens there, but you do get your flash, your filters, and you can reverse to the selfie camera. If you swipe this way, then you've got a very small selection of bonus modes. So again, yeah, compared with some of the more mid-range to premium devices, very scaled back. You don't get a pro mode, for instance, for manual controls or slow motion video or anything like that, but you can just jump into standard video mode. You've got an HDR mode, which doesn't really tend to do that much, to be perfectly honest. And of course, good old reliable beauty modes, just iron out those wrinkles. And then if we dive this way, you're into the camera settings, and as you can see there, you can change the resolution. So 13 megapixel is the standard. And if we were to jump into video modes, oh, not by doing that. There we go, we're in video modes. We flick across, should be able to shoot up to full HD video. There we go, full HD at 30 frames per second. So again, pretty standard for a basic budget handset. And I'm assuming the image stabilization is going to be not very effective / completely absent. But for any selfie lovers around there, you do get a 5 megapixel selfie camera as well, so just give this a little tap. And the good news is it's actually got an LED flash on it as well. So if we just get in close, and then where is the flash? Here we go. So it's on automatic. Let's just turn that on. Ah, right in my eyeballs. God damn. And then you can just snap away. So it's not a smart flash. It doesn't turn on as you actually take the photo or anything. It just blinds you permanently, basically. So let's get that turned off again. So that in a nutshell is the Honor 7S. We'll be doing a full review of this bad boy, so stay tuned for that. If there's anything particularly you'd like to know, slap a comment down below. And don't forget to give us a like and a subscribe and all that fun jazz. Yay, thanks guys, love you, bye!